If you don't like what we tell you to believe in, we'll kill you.
Albert Einstein famously remarked in a conversation with Werner Heisenberg, he said, you know, in the West we've built a beautiful ship and in it has all the comforts. But actually the one thing that it doesn't have is a compass, and that's why it doesn't know where it's going. This paradox of our times was propounded by the Dalai Lama when he said we have wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We have taller buildings but shorter tempers. Will Smith said that we spend money we haven't earned on things we don't need to impress people we don't like. And it's phenomenal how the same technology that brings us close to those who are far away takes us far away from the people that are actually close. 30 billion WhatsApp messages are sent per day, but 48% of people say that they feel lonelier in general. The paradox of our times is that we have more degrees but less sense, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts but less solutions. It was Martin Luther King who said that the irony of our times is that we have guided missiles but misguided men. Have you ever found it perplexing that we've been all the way to the moon and back, but we struggle to start a conversation across the road or across the train? And it's amazing that Bill Gates was known as the top earner in 2015 with a wealth of 79.2 billion, but 1 in 4 CEOs claim to be struggling from depression. Do we actually thrive off this paradox? Is it that this paradox actually makes the media interesting? It's what makes journalism interesting. It's what makes politics interesting. It's what makes television interesting. Is this paradox actually what we feed off and what we live off and what we talk about and discuss in our circles? Doesn't it seem that we've tried to clean the air but polluted our soul? We've split the atom but not our prejudice, and we're aiming for higher incomes but we have lower morals. So I'm hearing you ask, how do we bring a change? How do we dissect this paradox that exists in our lives? And it starts by us, each of us, pressing pause, pressing reset, and then pressing play again, taking a moment to become more conscious, taking a moment to become more aware, taking a moment to really reflect on the consequence, the implications of a misplaced word, of an unnecessary argument that we all know we didn't need to have, or to speak to someone just slightly differently, in a different tone, in a different voice, in a different empathy, with a different perspective, just to really connect with people on a different level. This thinking out loud started from Albert Einstein, and I'll track back to him when he actually said that the problems we have today can't be solved with the same thinking we used when we once created them. So actually we need to research alternative teachings. We need to deep down dig into those ancient books of wisdom. We need to go back to understanding if there's anything written in those creased pages of time that can actually reveal more knowledge and more wisdom of how we can transform our experience of light today. Otherwise, this paradox means that every step forward we take, we're taking 3 backwards every time.
The paradox of our times, in the world that we live in. We have record diversity in our population and the least diversity in opinion and thought imaginable. We have transcended the oppressive gender binary, yet we have more gender confusion than ever before. There is an abundance of dating websites and services, yet an overabundance of neats sitting at home dating cartoon characters. Our medical technology has achieved heights close enough to perfection so as to be imperceptible from it. Infectious diseases practically eradicated from our population. And yet now we have bored housewives protesting against inoculating their children from real ailments because of their heightened, exaggerated fears of imaginary ones. We have state-of-the-art prenatal care, birthing pavilions, infant intensive care units. We save more premature babies here in America than the rest of the world can shake a stick at. And all the while, we tell our women to live their lives, have a career, and don't get bogged down by the drudgeries of family life and homemaking. We have guaranteed by our government, by our founding documents, freedom of speech, and we have an information superhighway to use it on. But if you do a few Guy Fieri Hitler parodies, you get kicked off of private third-party platforms just like that. We have Black Lives Matter, and yet we have a black murder rate that would make plantation owners blush. We have more Jews in powerful places than previously thought possible, and yet anti-Semitism is the greatest threat we face going forward, people. We sit at the very zenith of human achievement. More advanced, more impressive civilizations can exist only in our imaginations or somewhere in the long past with all evidence of it erased. We know our existence. We have explored what brought us here. We know what it takes to maintain and move forward with it. We know why empires fall, why leaders fail, and why peoples perish. Yet we still can't fight the temptation to experiment, to tinker, to tempt fate by courting danger just to see how much our creation can endure without toppling into chaos. We recline with our comforts and conveniences and sneer at the historical forces that brought them into being because they may not have been brown enough, or vaginal enough, or inclusive enough for postmodern urbanite pansies. These are the paradoxes of our times, to have so much and to wish it away for the squalor of those we've left behind, to be lectured in TEDx-form platitudes by a curry-sucking, fake English accent-having half-queer who was probably in the first generation of his family to actually use a toilet for his business. We are literally sitting here watching census after census, counting down our demographic demise as a people in our own country, in our homeland, the land of our grandparents' grandparents. And when we protest or try to make others aware of the fate we are headed towards, we are called would-be mass murderers, agents of genocide, facilitators of atrocity, and agents of hate, all for not wanting to die. These are our paradoxes. And there is only one solution here, to be honest, fam.
This is The Daily Shoah on the Right Stuff Radio.
Wow.
So is that a bit much?
It was good, but it was like, oof, wow, it's a lot.
That's what happens when...
Like starting off on a serious tone. But dude, oh my god, I can't believe
it was supposed to be funny, but I got mad. And then
I know, I could tell you started getting a little irritated. Dude, that guy...
It's
Remember
terrible.
when I ran across that video like last week and I sent it to you and I was like...
Yeah. I was like, I'm hanging on to this for something.
Putting it inside the oven.
I love that bullshit. That bullshit.